If they need any help, if they can't get anyone, they know someone is in here 24/7.
Georgia Power's Director of Emergency Operations, Aaron Strickland, is as ready for a hurricane as you can be.
When a hurricane hits, generally the force that Katrina was, there are 0 hotels. You automatically go into the mode of, we build cities then for our people to live in. We actually had cities in Mississippi where we housed, fed, bathed, everything for about 12 to 13,000 people.
Posted around the Georgia Power Storm Center in his Atlanta office are smart boards that allow him to track storms and crews and service for over 1 million Georgia Power customers along the coast.
I can click on it and I can go down to the customer level. I can look at stuff like that.
The Georgia Power plan involves getting the home staff out of the line of fire during the hurricane.
We'll have a skeleton staff down there to take care of the wires are down, they'll get them up. But at some point, if there's an evacuation, we're trying to get them out, let it all fall, because you can't do anything in 70-mile-an-hour wind. You can't work. So evacuate those people. I said, if they can't get out, I said, that's a fear of mine.
The home team is replaced after the storm with pre-staged emergency crews.
Georgia Power in the coastal region is part of a huge network, the Southern Company Network. And it's not just Georgia, it's Alabama Power, Gulf Power, Mississippi Power, and we can all depend on our colleagues all over that huge expanse.
We had a Category 3 or higher storm hitting the Savannah coast. Like I was mentioning, in Mississippi, when Katrina hit down there, we had about 13,000 down there. 13,000 is what my minimum would be that I'd actually be trying to get for the Savannah area.
The need for that many hands came out of calculations that emerged from the Gulf Coast experience of 2005.
We've actually laid Hurricane Katrina, put it an overlay over Georgia looking at it. Georgia, we've got 2.4 million customers. We could likely see over 1 million customers out if we were to have a Katrina-style event on the Savannah, Brunswick coast. The way I understand, the coast is highly susceptible to more flooding probably than we saw in Mississippi with Katrina. That's going to be a huge issue for us, is when can we even get in there? The inland flooding we see is almost back to Statesboro, Georgia, severe flooding.
The crews are supported by a mobile command center that coordinates the efforts of those thousands living in an instant city that they themselves built that day.
We're just like an army. We figure out where the enemy is and we attack. We work during a hurricane 16 and 8, 16 hours working, 8 hours resting. And that's pretty tough because those 16 hours, our employees are out there in the 100-degree heat, the humidity, hard work. They put in a lot of hard work, and then that 8 hours of rest, they're sleeping in a tent with probably 500 of their closest friends. We're never fast enough for anyone, including ourselves.
Strickland says that the power lines themselves can withstand winds up to a Category 3 hurricane. It's the trees and the limbs that take out your electricity. The obvious solution? Running lines underground. But it has its own set of problems.
We get the underground question a good bit. Underground costs about 10 times more than overhead. Repairs takes a good bit longer and a lot more expensive. And you do have underground issues. Underground wire, when it fails, it's not like an overhead. When an overhead wire fails, you can look up and you know exactly where it's at.
The Georgia Power Storm Center has gotten a good test run this summer. Afternoon thunderstorms have already wreaked havoc on staff and schedules.
From July 1 to July 12th, we had almost 600,000 outages. It was one of the worst weeks, a little more than a week, that we've had in a long time. It was day after day. We were working crews 24 hours a day. We were working around the clock.
But that would just be a warm-up should the Georgia-Carolina coast face a direct hit from a major hurricane. In that event, Strickland says, be ready, have a plan, stay away from wires, stay out of work areas, evacuate when ordered, and leave the front porch light on if you would.
Outage, turn your porch light on,
Yeah.
so that they'll know that the power's back up.
It is still great
Yeah.
when we've got guys riding.